If you got an access road you need to clear, this might be the one for you if you're on a budget. This is our Yacare magnetic sweeper, now with suspension. So this is our torsion ride axle that we're using on a couple different models. We've used it on an Aardvark and the Cayman, and it works pretty well for the Yacare. So it's actually a progressive spring on there. So while the Aardvark and the Cayman are very heavy compared to the Yacare, it still works because it just works in the first couple inches of travel, as opposed to the Aardvark and Cayman that work in the lower or later parts of the suspension travel. So with our old system, you would never be able to run this fast with this magnet because it would just be bouncing around and pulling the UTV and that sort of thing. But now that we have this suspension system, really makes a big difference for towability, especially if you're just trying to get back to the site somewhere, you're just trying to get to the end. It's going to make a big difference. You see that suspension working. It's not bottoming out at all. I believe we have it set at about 4 inches off the ground right now. And it's not going to bottom out because once it gets to the lower parts of that suspension, you're going to be reaching the stiffer spring rate. So on this road, this is obviously the road into a landfill. You see the guys out there dumping their day's pickups. This place is bound to get all kinds of metal debris, from nails to wires to anything like that. So having a magnet to kind of clean up these areas is going to be really beneficial to not only customers. Well, customers don't really go in here, but that guy, he's not going to find out he has a flat tire till tomorrow morning. And then he's going to give somebody a call and say, hey, why is my tire flat? Why do you guys have nails everywhere? So that's what this thing's going to prevent. You see, it looks just about perfect behind that UTV. It's I believe a 6-foot sweeping width, so 72 inches. And yeah, you see a suspension on the Gator working. Why not have suspension on the trailer as well? So that thing's doing a great job of just tracking the ground, maintaining close to the sweeping height you set it at. It's obviously going to vary because you're bouncing, but that's the name of the game when you have suspension, right? You can't have a set ground clearance anymore. But if I was given a choice, I think I would pick having suspension and a variable sweep height versus not having suspension. So this also has our new, well, not new, it has flat-proof wheels on it with a new hub assembly. So instead of the way it was before, where it was basically just an axle with a bearing, this now has a full spindle that's shared with the Cayman and Aardvark. So if it works with the Cayman and Aardvark, it's going to be really heavy duty for something like this. The Yacare is about half the weight of the Aardvark. It'll still pick up nails from a pretty good distance. So that's why we have the 2 to 5 sweeping height adjustment. So if you're in really rough terrain, you can set it up to 5 and get a lot more clearance to the ground rather than bottoming out all the time and still pick up lots of nails. Trash mountain with the new updated Yacare with our Carlisle Tough Master wheels. So these are urethane filled flat proof tires that are 15 by 6.5, I believe, maybe 6.25. Anyways, so those are a nicer, higher quality tire with a better rim and hub assembly. So everything's just a bit sturdier. So we've just basically reinforced everything. There's new welds or reinforcements on the bottom of the frame that connects the tongue to the frame, just to reinforce it a bit, because we just realized that people are using them in heavier duty situations than we initially thought. So we got that suspension that takes all the stress out of the tongue, as well as a reinforced tongue. And then to go with our reinforced suspension and tongue, we got better wheels and hubs. So we got the debris digging rake down here, and we're just doing a couple laps because we already went over this earlier with the Erebus on the front of a grader. So that's our new DDR XL crank height adjustable, because it used to just have pins that adjust the height. This has thicker 5/16 spring teeth on the front for better digging, more spring. Way more better. So that's going to kick up anything that we missed with the Erebus, because at that point we were just, those hanging magnets, you can only really just get surface level stuff. But once you get that big rake on there, you can get some more in-depth digging. And you see we just went through that big puddle. You'd expect we lost all the magnets or all the metal on the back. But as you can see, wraparound function saves the day. Everything just snaps around to the back of the magnet. So that makes a huge difference when you're sweeping in any kind of mud or dirt, soft sand, grass, that sort of thing, because it's going to be hitting the metal on the magnet all the time. But our Blue Streak magnets most of the time have wraparound So that will retain any debris you've collected, even if you do hit the ground with the magnet, or stuff gets wiped off by water in this case. So yep, 72-inch sweeping width. We got new reinforced hubs, new reinforced tongue assembly, torsion ride suspension with a progressive suspension system. So the progressive spring rate is, it's just a torsion ride system. So the further you go down, the harder the spring gets. So the Yacare, Cayman, and Aardvark all share this part, and it only works because all three are different weights, but you got progressive suspension. So this one rides in the first top 2 inches, Cayman will ride the next little bit, and the Aardvark will ride the lowest on them all. But you got more travel than you need. You got maybe 2-3 inches of travel under normal conditions, and then on a bigger hit, it'll go a little further. But the Aardvark and the Cayman will just ride lower in the system. So that, again, takes a lot of stress out of the frame and all the rest of the chassis. Beautiful. Look at her go, just bouncing along there. So normally you wouldn't be able to go that fast through an area like this because of if you didn't have suspension, that magnet's always going to be pulling on the UTV. It's hard on your hitch, it's hard on your machine. Just puts a lot of wear and strain on everything when it doesn't need to happen if you got suspension. So our new off-road series all has this now, and it's going to work a lot nicer. So after a nice jaunt up and down Trash Mountain, we went right to the peak up there, saw the sights, and came down right through the lumps and bumps. Got a little muddy on the magnet, because that's what we like to do. And we got our new suspension system working on this thing, which gives you a bit of travel. You got maybe 2 inches if you hit it hard enough, and that's going to allow you to pull this thing without it always yanking on the UTV and causing too much strain on the frame. So with that being said, we went around this area here. We had the rakes down and left this nice kind of groomed pattern, but that also digs a lot of crap out of the ground that might be just under the surface getting driven over by people every day. So we got that up and out of the ground, and we're just going to clean it off and show you how much we collected in the span of 10 minutes or so. So to clean it off, it's on the page already, but you just pull these, separates the magnet, and then you can drive forward. And that's quite a pile. I want to get in here and take a shot of that, and then we'll show them again once we get it all in the bucket. But that's a lot of junk. There, you want to go back out. So to clean this up so we don't have to cut our soft hands with this nice metal is we got a Power Stick Pro here, and this is just easy way to get everything off the ground. Doesn't come with the magnet, but you can buy one on the website while you're there. And you don't have to bend over, you don't have to, because you can still do it in a section like this where it's all muddy. You don't have to be able to see every single piece of debris that you collected. So it makes it a lot easier, because normally you'd have to do this on like a tarp or something and be able to see every piece of metal that you've picked up. This way you just kind of dig her in the ground and you'll get it all. Now Pro Elite would be a little better for this, but that's not here. All right, so we just picked up everything that I could get here. There will likely be a little bit more left, but we'll just run it over again with this thing and pick it up with that. But if you want to get in closer, you can see how much we collected in 10 minutes of driving around with this Yacare. So that's 7 pounds or so of nails, and each one of those, a lot of these are shingle nails too, so it's got a nice flat base to stand up and poke your tire. So there you go, magnet. It's very good.